For those who don't know me, my name is Jerry Christ. I'm one of the mentors for 1792. I am currently serving as the state of Wisconsin logistics and operations coordinator. I was a founding member for the Oak Creek High School Robotics Booster Club, which is a 501c3. If your team or your club or whoever's running your team does not have a 501c3, I'd sincerely recommend it, and I would be happy to talk offline on how to facilitate that, but it comes in extremely handy for your team to move fast and efficient when it comes to money. So this is going to be a very interactive session. We're going to talk about different strategies for fundraising for your team. We're going to figure out where we're going to get the money from, different places that you can go in order to access funding, and how much money you're going to need. So we're going to start by doing what I call a QDub. It's a quick and dirty operating budget. Who's never had any sort of work with your team's operating budget? Come on in, guys. There's seats up here. Everybody's got a knowledge of the budget, knows how much robots cost and how much competitions cost. All the freshmen know. You guys don't know? So you have no idea how much your team's putting out for different things? Okay, good. So we're going to talk about a budget. We're going to take about 5 minutes to go through different things that need to be on your budget, all right? Stuff that you need to plan for. I made it a little easy. We're going to start with season costs. So if you are competing in the FRC district model for 2026, you're going to spend $6,300. You're going to get 2 events. All right. If you qualify for state championships, which should be the goal for everyone in this room, state championships is an additional $4,000 entry fee. If you come out of state championships with a chance, there's some seats over here and there's some seats right here, with a chance to go to champs, that's going to be another $5,700. So if you check all the boxes, your registration fees alone for your team is going to be $16,000. All right? So that's going to be the first line on our budget, is going to be 16 grand. All right? So now we need to think about robot parts, field elements. How are we traveling? Where are we traveling to? Business and presentation, uniforms, all this stuff we're going to talk about. So we're going to spend 5 minutes just going around the room. Raise your hand and let's come up with a budget line item. And my timer won't start. Okay. Got it. All right. Who can come up with a budget line item? Yeah.
Like hotels and stuff?
Hotels is going to be, so let's put a line down for travel and lodging. So this is a tough one because we don't know where competitions are yet. But let's say you want to plan for Houston. Who's recently been to Houston? All right. How much did you guys spend on hotels alone?
Hotels alone. Oh, that's a trickier question. Ask somebody else.
Okay. Anybody got a number? $10,000 just, so don't put that as the main line yet. We're going to add that in. So $10,000 for hotels. How did you get to Houston?
We flew.
Okay. So how much were plane tickets?
Every student paid for their own.
Okay. So students were on their own for plane tickets. That's one way. Yep. 12 grand. 12 grand for flights. So now we're at just for Houston, we're at 22. Just for travel and lodging. All right. So let's figure you're going to go to one district event at least that's going to be kind of out of your zone. Maybe something out towards lacrosse or something like that. I don't know who's in here from lacrosse or anything. So let's go ahead and budget. Let's make it a nice round 35 grand for travel and lodging.
That's the number I had in my head, by the way.
So, okay. How much? Yeah. Yeah, we kind of got that cushioned in there. I mean, like a bus from say Milwaukee to somewhere out 4 or 5 hours. It's about
We would always look for a regional that was no more than 6 hours.
right, because that way you don't have to have two drivers.
$4,000 or $5,000. And
Mhm.
if we flew to Houston, then we would rent 2 or 3 vans so we could transport people
Yep.
back and forth. And that cost was probably similar.
So I think we're ballpark for travel and lodging. What do we need? So we got $16,000 invested in fees. We have $35,000 invested in total or travel and lodging. What do we need to make all this work? We need a robot, right? The robot's optional? Okay. I encourage my team to go ahead and build a robot. Any ideas on what you spend on robot parts a year? Anybody got any numbers to throw out? Yeah. 2,000? Okay.
Lauren's making a face.
$6,000 over here. So we're between 2 and 6.
Think about it. If you're doing swerve, $2,500 per swerve.
Yep.
Without motors. Okay. And then if you're going to need 16 motors, you're talking about another $3,000.
Yep.
Okay. And then you're going to need wire, you're going to need wheels, you're going to need aluminum, you're going to need a lot of stuff. So it's going to be north of $10,000 for a robot.
I'd let's put 10 grand for a robot. Because there's stuff that you guys don't realize. You know what costs the most money on a robot? The part you order and don't use. The part you buy and destroy during prototyping. You know, the aluminum tube that your machine shop accidentally cuts, you know, we measured it 3 times and we still cut it too short. So, uniforms, t-shirts, all stuff starts to add up. So let's put for uniform costs, let's ballpark it at, let's do $2 grand, just to play it safe. I think we're a little hefty there. A lot of times a lot of times we'll buy the shirts, and we are fortunate enough that our school has an excellent screen printing department. So a lot of times it's sweat equity with the team in there. You know, our teacher makes the screen and everything, and so and they have done that for FLL too. So we've been able to help our FLLs.
So what would you suggest then for the t-shirts?
Think we should push it up to 20?
Scale, like we only have 8 plus another, we only have 14 on our FLL, and we have 82 on our FTC team, but I'm sure that they.
Yeah, it's a couple grand. I mean, usually about 2,000 for teachers.
Let's bump it up to 2,500. Just
Just be safe.
okay. We're going to skip food because we're going to save food for last. Tools. How many people have all of the tools that they need? Thanks to wonderful donations from Milwaukee Tool. All right. How many people have watched a student or even a mentor bounce check a drill? All right. Drill hits the ground, no longer works. So you got to provide some money for tooling. How many people have an Omeo or some sort of CNC machine that's not school owned? Whereas they have to go ahead and if you guys break, I think in one night we went through 4 Omeo bits at $35 a piece. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and budget $8 grand in the tool and equipment department. Anybody doing any capital improvements this year? Or is this the year we're buying all new laptops? Anything like that? So let's go ahead and budget another $3 grand for capital improvements.
I do that every year. You
So.
know, rotate them in, you know, tablets or
Yep.
laptops, you know, so you don't have to buy them all.
So last year we bought a vertical mill. So that was a $5,000 capital expense. But we did that because we knew that we weren't traveling. Last year we did 2 local events instead. So we took the money that we would have spent on the bus to go to Duluth, and we bought a mill with it. So, all right. Now let's talk about food. Anybody got a budget for how much your team devours in food? $200.
$200. We have 8 kids on our team.
Okay. All right. Still, $200 for 8 kids. That's one out of town dinner at, say, I think it's light for Cheesecake Factory. I think if you can get out of Panera nowadays.
We also only eat at Culver's too.
There you go. Culver's is a great option. So, how do you guys do? Do you do team lunches during build on Saturdays? Okay. So, you got to figure each Saturday, if you can get parents to assemble a lunch, you're still probably looking at $300-400 per Saturday. If you're looking at the Culver's stop on your way back from a visit, I would say your food budget for a season is probably, depending on the size of your team, somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000. Let's split the difference.
1,200 or 12 grand?
No, not 12 grand. Let's say between 1,500 and 3,000. So let's say 42, somewhere right in between. On the high side.
Jared, I don't think that.
What?
42, let's say 4,200. 4,200 in food. And that's Houston too. That's if you're traveling to state. So let's total that up real quick. So what do we got? 16, there you go, use your calculator. What do we got? $78,000. Now, a team of 8, it's probably going to be a lot less, but you want to grow, right? So plan for the future. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about some sources for getting that funding. So we're going to use those dry erase boards in the back there. So who can tell me a good source for getting funds for a FRC team? Rich uncle. Friends and family. Local businesses? Okay, so you got friends and family, and then next we're going to have local businesses. Go ahead and we're going to put Post-it notes underneath them. So go ahead and spread them across the top so we can put some Post-it notes. So local businesses. What are some other sources of getting funding for an FRC team? Fundraisers. Did you say grants? Did I hear grants? So let's go all the way to this side where Walnuts and Bolts is. And let's look at, how about let's put state and school. All right, where else can we get money from? Student fees. Yep. Well, grants are going to go in a couple different categories probably. So let's see. We're missing a big one. We got state and school. We got student fees. We got friends and family. We have local businesses. We have fundraisers. How about corporate sponsors? Big. I would consider, Phil's Barbershop writing a check for $500 as a local. Right. So I would, for you, I would lump them under corporate sponsors. All right. So like me getting $3,000 out of Rockwell Automation, that's a corporate sponsor. So, all right. So we got state and school, we got student fees, we got corporate, we have friends and family, local businesses, fundraisers. Anybody else got any sources? Yeah.
There are a lot of foundations. corporate sponsor is they're writing you
Mm-hmm.
out of their business, out of their operating fund, but they also have a foundation.
All right, so let's right in the middle there, let's put foundations.
We want to count in kind.
Yes, we do. So right on the other side and the next board over, you're going to write in kind. Does anybody not know what in kind means? Okay, so in kind means, let's say I happen to work for a company that makes 3D printers, all right? And I can't write your team a check, all right? We don't have the philanthropic budget. But I have 3 3D printers that were returned to me because, supposedly the third stage flux valve was bad, and we fixed them and they're working fine, but we can't resell them as new. So I can give you those 3D printers. That's an in-kind donation. Those are huge. All right, so we have state, school, student fees, corporate sponsors, foundations, in-kind, friends and family, local business, fundraisers, any other opportunities to fundraise for your team. And manufacturing meth is not one of them. I have some Weisenheimers on my team. All right, so now what I'd like you to do is on the Post-it notes that you have at your table, I would like you to write down either something that your team has done that has been incredibly successful, something that you think you would like to try, or even something that your team has done that was an absolute hot mess and ended up costing you more money than you possibly could have earned. So we're going to take about 5 minutes, write as many things as you can. You don't have to write your name on them. You can write your name on them. But then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of look at them. We're going to go around the room and we're going to talk about them, how they were successful. If a program that worked excellent for Beast, all right, will work for more. If a program that worked excellent for Ferrodermis might not be the right fit for Bears, all right? So we're going to get an idea of what's out there, and we're just going to kind of come up with some best practices. So, you guys have Post-it notes over there? All right, so yeah, write them down, run up, stick them under what bucket you think they are.
Where would insurance fall into the budget?
Insurance. It all depends if you need it.
Okay.
Our school covers it.
Yeah, I know.
Most schools cover it.
Most schools cover it? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think every group in this room is riding their school's insurance.
Okay. That's good.
Throw them up there, put them up. Anybody looking? Let's look at the back of your shirts. Some great ideas on the back of the shirts. Come up with something that you'd like to try. Put that up there. They're not sticking? Let's put them on the marker rack then, I guess. We just can't have nice things. Come on, everybody's got to have some good ideas. I'm looking at shirts that say Baxter, Department of Public Instruction. You're getting some money from there. But you're getting something from them, right? It's a spend to get it.
Yeah, it's
And Racine is extremely tight with their purse. So if Racine doesn't put the money out first, WPI won't reimburse. So, but we have some strategies for that. Is First Wisconsin a foundation? I would list them in that level, yes.
Yeah, all the different things that we get fundraising, so. Yeah, I know. And then what you want to do and what.
Fundraising is getting it hard.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Great, perfect.
I think that the parent one is more of a fundraising.
Fundraiser? Set right there. They're not sticking, the board's greasy, so just set them on the.
Jerry.
Yeah.
question for you. We have an idea, something that's worked well for us is,
Mm-hmm.
we ask parents to do a donation through their.
Yep.
their
Oh, that's
kids'
a-
matching program.
That's a great part.
Where do you want that? Is that
Friends and family.
Friends and family.
Yep.
Like, so the money we make at Twist does not go to charity. The money we make at Twist goes to the next year. So Twist is self-sustained.
That's the smart way to do that.
Yep, so it's not a fundraiser, so I can't put it out there though.
But
Technically,
fundraising itself.
it fundraises.
so
itself,
every penny from Twist goes to keep the wheel spinning.
basically.
Yeah.
Like merch pays for the volunteer shirts, concessions pays for volunteer food, and then we have sponsor money to cover the field.
Yep.
That's generally how Twist functions. And we're usually pretty solidly in the green there.
We're gonna move First Wisconsin grants to state.
Yeah, because the screen we previously was really poopy, so we invested some of the extra funds for Twist.
Anybody as a student in here go to Champs last year? Did you have to write a check?
No, we went, all students went free.
That's awesome. So, yep. Yep.
And we do the same thing as Ferrodermis for some reason.
So,
But they don't pay. Yeah, it's a good idea. Someone almost thought of it.
Stressful idea.
lost my clicker.
We did a little bit this year where they all paid money up front and then they were reimbursed.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about. I had a hard lesson with that once.
Yeah, worked out pretty good.
Anybody else have any good stories about how they were able to fundraise something? Anybody want to put up stuff that just was a train wreck and didn't work? That's what this is all about. This is a safe place here, okay? We can talk about things that didn't work.
You can just list
And I
the
put
city
some-
area school district and we don't need to expand on that at all. You don't understand how fortunate you are.
All right, we're going to take a couple more minutes. All right, you can go ahead and erase your budget.
Our band, last year, number of years we've been working with, well, the Kaiser this year, their union said, no, they don't want volunteers. So then that's what they chose to work with. So this year we picked up. Yeah.
All right. So let's go through some of these ideas, and we can also throw in some new ideas if it's something that wasn't thought about. We're going to start with state and school. And I got 1, two here that are the Wisconsin DPI grant. The Wisconsin DPI grant is awesome. How many students participated in Advocacy Day? Advocacy Day is something we got to keep up on. We have to lean on the state when it comes to funding our programs, because this note here is my favorite. Fund it like an athletic team. There is absolutely no reason that high school robotics shouldn't be treated like a sport. All right? WISA should recognize us. Eventually, that's hopefully going to happen. But in the meantime, you should be communicating with your school and your district about what you do, about what you do in the community, about how you are open to any student. I don't think there's a single organization in this room that wouldn't allow a specific student on their team. All right? This crosses gender, physical abilities, everything. Anybody can be on your robotics team. All right? Can you say the same thing for your football team? All right? So we need to definitely keep utilizing that DPI grant. We're going to work with you guys on seeing ways that we can possibly squeeze a little bit out of that DPI grant. Yeah. They get a little bit out of the DPI grant now?
Yeah, we try, I think. I don't know, we're freshmen, so we just took over funding.
Yeah, I'll talk to Spencer and
Yeah,
see
talk
what's
to
going
them.
on. You've talked to him? Have you talked to Spencer about the
I had a
DPI
second
grant?
question.
Yeah.
Can you explain how money cycles work for like state legislation and DPI grant stuff?
Okay, so the reason why we hammered the Advocacy Day this year is because the state of Wisconsin writes a biannual budget. All right, the budget is for 2 years. So that's why we were just crazy on them this past winter, so that when the budget was written, they were already talking about us. Okay, because this budget's done, it's signed, the governor signed it, and there's not going to be another budget for 2 years under a totally different governor and under a different legislative branch and everything. So that's why we need to hit it before the budget's written. Because next year, Advocacy Day is still important. We should still be there. We should still talk to all of our representatives, but there's no budget being written next year. So, what other state and school? It'd be great if they just funded us completely. All right. Is anybody, and this is going towards mentors, I know there's a couple teams that are a line item on their district budget.
Zero. Nope. Other than facilities.
So I know 930 gets a little help with their facilities
Yes.
from the district.
Yes.
So I know
We pay for half our rent.
1792 gets, we're not a budget line at all. So
We haven't asked for, I mean, we've purposely made that part of our business plan, is that we're self-funded because we have club status, and clubs are not funded by the district. But we were able to work in that we're integrated in the curriculum, we have teacher support.
So are you getting your DPI grant by your club
Yes,
specifically going to the state?
yes,
All right.
yeah. So we have always written the grant ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to apply for the grant, and then you have to report on your expenditures, and you have to show the expenses, and you have to show that you raised at least that much money, right? And now what we've done, because we have so many teams in the district, we've centralized it. We have a district finance person actually applying for one singular grant that gets dispersed at the district level.
Yeah. So you can work with that. You can also work with your school. So if you have a 501c3, you can have your 501c3 take the money and donate it to your school for the express reason to pay for an event or something like that. And then the school can then file for the DPI grant. And then all of a sudden it becomes like Twist, self-funding. So like I gave $6,000 to my school district to pay for our event. They wrote the check to First. We then submitted that to DPI. We got half of that back from DPI. They in turn invested it. So the next year I only had to write a check for $3,000. So, and then it just kind of, it trickles down and then we reset. So, but it's a good way to get your school involved. Yep.
One thing on that. So this is something I actually learned from you. So our school does not give us any money outright.
Right.
Sometimes they will help us with grants, which is very helpful because we get equipment that way. But we still recognize them as a top tier sponsor.
Yep.
Because the school still provides us a space. And if we had to go out on our own, get a space, insure it for the team to work out of, it would be a high level sponsorship for the team. So even though they don't give us cash, we still recognize it in that way because the
So that's-
alternative is very expensive.
That's a very big in-kind donation.
Yes.
The fact that they insure you. So if I had to take my team outside of the school and I had to find an insurance company that is willing to insure 14, 15, and 16-year-olds operating power tools, that insurance contract would be a deal breaker. So, all right, so let's talk about student fees. Now, Ferrodermis and Worrybots, they said you guys went to champs and your students didn't pay anything. All right, there are some teams, Roundtable, we got certain things sponsored, like we would have a sponsor cover a block of hotel rooms, or Regal Rexnord used to always pay for our bus going to Duluth. So we would then reduce the cost for students. But a lot of times you're going to have student fees. You can charge what we call a t-shirt and lunch fee. Okay, so at the beginning of every season, there's a $150 fee per student, but that gets you your work shirt, it gets you a practice day t-shirt, and it gets you lunch every Saturday of build season. Okay, so realistically, when parents hear that, compared to what it costs to be on the soccer team, it's a bargain.
We call it an activity fee.
Activity fee, yep.
It's assessed through the school. We used to have the parents write a check to the school deposit, put into our activity fund.
Okay, so you have an activity fund?
Yep, and now they assess it through Infinite Campus, so the parents have to pay it to the school credits it back to us.
Okay.
And we're up to, I think we did, can't remember if we did 150. We were lower than that for a long time, but we're just looking at the cost of the program, and I think it could probably even go higher than 150 per year per student. And what are other teams doing for activity fees? You guys do 150?
We do 150, but it gets you your mechanic shirt, your practice day t-shirt, and all of your meals during build season.
Yeah, we used to do it was food, shirts, and transportation to the local regional. The team would pay for the school bus to Milwaukee, and then all the students would pay their own travel, lodging, and food on away trips.
Yep. A lot of times, the school also charge every single student will have a transportation fee. All right, so every single student in the school will pay, I don't know, $75 for a transportation fee. That gives you the uses of school vans and things like that. So if your mentors are looking for cheap transportation to local events, those are always good ideas. So let's talk corporate sponsorships and how to get a corporate sponsorship. Anybody got one in here?
A corporate sponsor?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how'd you get them?
Ask for it. Demo.
How about, first of all, mind your parents.
Parents, yeah, mind the parents. If you we would have mentors show up. I mean, there are a lot of companies that are local that encourage their employees, like GE is a great one, Rockwell, Johnson Controls, so on and so forth, that they actually encourage their employees to come and be a mentor. And a lot of those companies won't give you sponsorship unless you have one of their employees as a mentor. And they have programs that are pretty much automatic for those mentors to apply.
Barry, how did you get started in this? How did this all happen for you?
20-ish years ago or so, one of my buddies at work was involved and brought me over to help out of the practice.
So boom, G sponsor right there. So talk to your parents. You would not believe, so Milwaukee Tool, GE, Johnson Control, Regal Rexnord, all technical companies that are looking for you guys to come work for them when you graduate, all right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a tech company. All right. I worked for Empower Retirement for the better part of 6 years as a retirement fund manager, and they gave our team $5,000 a year just because I work for the company I volunteer for them. All right. So there's nothing that says a corporate sponsor has to be a technical or kind of sponsor like that. Look at all different areas and write letters. Look at websites. Look at go on the website and look at donations, and just figure out ways to sell your program. Which means you should always have something ready to hand out. So how many teams have a sponsor flyer or something that they can immediately hand to someone? Yeah. If you don't have one, I would highly suggest you make one. All right.
Put it on your website.
If you do have one, I would make sure that it's up to date. All right. Freshen up the pictures. Make sure that it's ready to go. Always have a couple copies in your pit. When you go to a demo, always have a couple copies, but always have that ready to hand out. A lot of times, like I said, a lot of times you have to have a mentor that works for that team to get sponsorships. So if you call up a Generac, and Generac says, well, you need to have someone on your team that's a mentor, ask, is there a possibility we can post a flyer for a Generac employee in the Oak Creek area that might be interested in checking out becoming a mentor on our team? All right, look for ways to get in. And
Jerry, can I have one
Yep.
comment to that? What you'll find is if you like cold call a company and just say, hey, we want you to be a sponsor, or just send them a blind email, it's not going to
Yep.
work. You have to have a connection. So, and those connections come from the friends and family, from mentors. You need to know somebody who knows somebody, and then you ask them in person. And if the students show up and they bring the robot, your chances are pretty good that they're going to give you something.
And talking about the cold call, okay, you're 100% right. It's getting past the gatekeeper. So if you have a parent, a neighbor, an uncle, a cousin, somebody that can kind of get you in, that's great, okay? But I'll tell you that for Roundtable, we had a young lady that would cold call different companies in Oak Creek every day. She'd get home from school, she would sit down, she had a phone list of 10 numbers, and she would call them every day. And for the better part of 2 weeks, she was bumping into the gatekeeper at Zune, who would never let her call go through. Never. But she just hammered that phone number every day. And finally, she got through to, he was their training and logistics coordinator. So when they sold a Zune machine, they let people come in and do training in Oak Creek. And she finally got through to this guy. And she said, hey, we have a robot. We want to come over one afternoon. We want to show you what it does. And we want to see if you'd be interested in sponsoring or helping us mentor. And the guy said, yeah, okay, fine. So the team loaded up. They took their robot over there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They did a little demo, and Zune just fell in love with them. And it started with in-kind, with them making parts and letting the kids use their machine. And it has grown to a major sponsorship every year in the $3,000 to $5,000 area. One of their employees, when they found out that the team was going to Houston, personally paid for every single student to go to NASA for a tour. Wrote a check to cover the entire NASA tour. So cold calling is tough, all right? I don't recommend it. I always recommend you finding a friend. But if you're one of those people that can data mine a number and just be diligent about, and get to the point where you're calling and the secretary's answering the phone and she says, no, there's nobody you can talk to. And then on the second call, hey, Phyllis, it's Jerry again from Roundtable Robotics. Is there any chance there's somebody I can talk to? No? Okay, wait a few days. Hey, Phyllis, how's your day going? great. Is there any chance that I can talk to someone? And then you just never know. You might get through. So if you have that type of personality and you can do it, great. Other corporate sponsors. Nope, we're gonna run into grants. So Haas Foundation. Who's getting a Haas Foundation grant right now? All right, how do you do it?
Go online and fill out their application.
Yep.
And they say, here you go.
They're
So-
very aggressive about making sure you take their money.
Yep.
Because we did a little bit of an oopsie this year where we filled it out in 2023 and we forgot to in 2024. One of the representatives hunted us down in Duluth and said, hey,
Yeah.
can we give you money? And we said, sorry, sure, filled it out. And we had a check.
Is there any catches for that?
What do you mean catches?
Is there anything that you have to have or provide to Haas? You don't need any of their machines in your machine shop?
You can't even spend their money on their
You
machines.
cannot spend their money on their machines.
Okay. All right.
Can't spend it on AD, can't spend, yeah, there's certain things you can't spend it on, but yeah.
So is there anybody in here not getting a Haas grant? Raise your hand.
Apply for one.
It is
Yep.
due in August or September 1, something like that, so get on it.
So, anybody over there not getting a Haas grant? I hope you're writing this down. Write down. Hit that website. Okay. Grants are, again, don't be afraid to reach out to different. Grants are tough to find an actual phone number. You either have to find a website or you have to actually do physical mail, where you either write stuff down or you print out a piece of paper and fold it, stick it in an envelope, stamp that Jurassic stuff. Yeah, I know. It's like a payphone. So, foundations are great. Laddish has a foundation. Laddish has been out of business for 15 years now. Laddish. They're the old no, they're not Bucyrus. They're
They're laddish.
Laddish, and they get bought out by ATI.
Yeah. The giant forges.
But the Laddish Foundation is still flush with money.
LED.
So
LADIS.
especially, I see South Milwaukee over there. Oh, right here, South Milwaukee. Yeah, Laddish. You should be all over that foundation. And they might require either a former Laddish employee or a current ATI employee. So you should have a couple of those, or a grandfather or a grandmother that might have worked for Laddish back in the day. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So endowments. Who's got an endowment working? All right, how's that work?
So we have a couple school alumni who said, let's find a long-term funding solution. So through our community foundation, we have another fund of money that we are trying to pump donations into that we are not touching right now.
Okay.
Our goal is not to touch it until it hits 500,000,
Boom.
and then we can pull 25,000 a year forever. That's our goal.
We like that's in
So you would.
perpetuity. We like that.
So what?
You get it to a certain level, and then
Yep.
you're allowed to take.
Then we're working
5%
off the
per year.
interest. So we're about a fifth of the way there.
Okay. Let's talk about in kind. So, who's got a good in kind story they can tell? Yeah, go ahead, Daria.
AIM always takes our team and a couple others and provides free transportation for our robots and our kits to Houston every year.
How much money, how much cash has AIM given our team?
Zero, I think.
You are cash-wise writing a check. How much do you think they've donated to us in the last 10 years? I would say it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $70,000. Transporting is not cheap, and they have sent. So remember, early on in the team's existence, when they carried us everywhere, we didn't have a trailer. They took us to Duluth. They took us to North Dakota twice. They've taken us to St. Louis, Detroit, Indiana, Houston 4 times now. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with an in-kind donation. They are phenomenal, okay? In-kind donations can cut parts for you. They can powder coat your robot if you want it to look pretty. They can, a lot of machine shops will help you out.
I think we had the first Milwaukee in-kind donation. We had one of our mentors was working for Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Tool.
And that, what's that?
Nothing. I'm just giving Jake a hard time.
Yeah, we've gotten, I mean, so much. I mean, to the point where what's interesting is that it started out us getting a few handful of tools from Milwaukee, and
Yep.
then because we're in Brookfield, that's where headquarters is, and then they would drop off. You know, we got for both wood shops and both schools.
Yep.
And they just grew and grew. Now they're like almost every team has some access to Milwaukee.
You talk to your wood shop and metal shop teachers, and they'll say, "Hey, Milwaukee Tool's doing a donation for us this fall. They want a list. Do you need anything?" Just jump on that list. I remember that Christmas Day when Mr. Lonergan called me and said, "Hey, our Milwaukee Tool stuff is here." And I had a stack of boxes like that high, just drills and different stuff. It was Christmas morning. So in kind, awesome, cool, great. So any other in kind cool stories?
We had Bill's Power Center in Brookfield give us a whole bunch of snowblower parts one year that were all made out of cast iron and steel that
Okay.
we had to find a new home for.
What do
Yep.
you use them for?
Nothing.
Yeah.
They were way too
Yeah,
heavy. So you got to be careful that sometimes we've had at least a half a dozen times people said, "Oh, we have a whole bunch of stuff that we can give you that you can use," and you end up with someone else's pile of junk.
Yeah, we had just recently we had a super supportive, wonderful member of the school board go rummage sale shopping. And she's like, "I got all sorts of stuff that I know you guys are going to be able to use." And we have somebody's like circa 2002 surround system for what was probably their oversized TV. It's Denon. It's really nice. At the time, it was great stuff. But in 2024, it's going to recycling.
We had that with old laptops.
Yeah.
Past any usable amount of prime.
So, and that kind of leads me into a cool fundraiser that, if anybody knows Franklin every year runs a drop-off recycling for electronics and TVs and old laptops. And the Franklin kids will show grandma how to remove the hard drive from her old laptop that doesn't work. And there's the older people in the Franklin area just love this event because they come in, they bring all their electronics. Franklin contracts with a company that gives them X amount per pound of stuff they're recycling. So it actually works out great for them. They have it in their school parking lot. They have all their students there. They're talking to people that are in line, asking how they can help, with recycling the electronics. They have a great time with it, and it's been successful for them. So.
I have one that I know Cedarburg does. I don't think we have any Hexhounds folks in here right now, but they do if anyone's been to the Cedarburg Strawberry Festival, Hexhounds has the school letting them park cars there for $10 a car.
Whoa.
For a extremely busy weekend, and they help with a little bit of concessions. I think they're pulling in like 10 to 14K
Nice.
a year. Just
So-
from having someone point where cars go,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
So real quick, let's jump to family and friends here. Okay. So family and friends, donations are great. Okay. A lot of times a company will match a donation. All right. So Northwestern Mutual is a great example. If you have an employee that works at Northwestern Mutual and they give your robotics team $200, just a straight check. I like what you guys are doing. Here's a check for $200. If they report that to Northwestern Mutual will also write you a check for $200. It doesn't cost the employee anything, All right? It's just it's a matching opportunity for donations that a lot of companies offer. So you want to really data mine your friends and your parents and family on that? Yeah. What's it?
5-minute warning.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
And on that, a lot of times they have to pay it into first, and first pays it back to you.
Unless you have official 501c3. And like I said, I will have that conversation with anybody that wants to have it about starting one up. Service organizations, Kiwanis Rotary, Optimist Club, they just write checks. All right, so work on that. Let's talk local business really quick. There's a trivia night here. So if somebody has a local restaurant that does that, they might do it on your behalf. Culver's night. Cousin Subs will do a night for you. In Oak Creek, we have Georgie Porgies. What did Qdoba just did? 25%?
Yeah,
25% for 3 hours. And that Qdoba was hopping at that time. So
Big Qdoba for fundraiser for champs as well.
yeah. So lots of local business opportunities. They're going to be smaller, all right? Maybe you'll get a big one out of it. But, I mean, just look for smaller. Again, in kind. If you are one of these schools where you find out you have a new shop every year and you can get a storage unit for an in-kind donation from a local small storage unit. Fundraisers. So always look, this is festival time. So you talked about Hex Hounds making a mint parking cars. Roundtable works for the Lions Club, and for 4 days we make walking tacos. And you know, I always tell kids that you can't if you can't build a walking taco, you can't build a robot. So it's very simple, all right? You open the bag of chips, you put meat in, you put cheese in, you put lettuce in, you put salsa on it, you hand it to the person. Done. All right. So great idea there. More Culver's nights. Golf event. 1714 left. All right. Golf events, very interesting. They can either be extremely profitable or they can suck the life out of you. Okay. So a golf event you got to be all in for, because it could end up costing you money. Quick Trip cards. Who had Quick Trip cards? Quick Trip cards are awesome, but also, well, they don't really burn you, but it just, sometimes it takes a lot, because you got to buy are you buying the cards up front?
Nope.
You're not?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We have parents that go in, and that Quick Trip is one of our sponsors because they got $500 for this event. Because each, like a whole bunch of different parents just goes, can we have, a donation for this event? So you just have to keep adding, and they'll give you a card for like $100 or $50.
Because, yeah,
But if you have a whole bunch of parents that go and ask, we have $500
Nice.
for this event.
because when I looked at Quick Trip, they wanted me to buy, they were going to sell me gas cards at a discount.
That's the script thing.
Right.
That's what
And then the problem is, I try to sell them. I stand in front of a meeting saying, "Hey, I have Quick Trip cards," and I get a glassed over blank stare. And then Dario will be the first one to admit, I'm a scatterbrain. I set the cards down and I walk away because something shiny comes up, or I get called to look at something on the robot, and they're gone.
Nope, everything is a pre-order. We don't purchase any cards until we know somebody's gonna buy them.
Cool.
The best deal is car wash cards. People pay $36 for them. The team keeps 16. You send $20 to Quick Trip.
Nice. City Market trinket sales, 3D printed items. So we did, at our FLL event, we did 3D printed submerged earrings and Christmas ornaments, and banked on it. Every single one we printed, we sold in like under 3 hours. So that's a good idea for stuff like that. Party on the pavement. Grants, 50-50 shots, popsicles. Was that like a festival?
That was popsicles. We would sell them after school. We'd literally sit out there for 15 minutes, and we'd make $100 a day.
Nice.
Literally, and we buy like they're like,
Pops.
we buy the 200
Yeah.
packs from Sam's Club or Costco,
Okay.
and we'd sell them for $1 each, and we made $800 on that for
Okay.
2 weeks of school.
Cool. And I'll tell you, no matter what any kid or any mentor says, you cannot build a robot that can successfully dispense Freezy Pops, especially during a parade. They melt too fast. Party on the pavements. Let's see. 3D printer sales. Student chocolate. Anybody have success with chocolate bars?
We did, what we used to do was Cerugis, and we did, I can't remember what coffee it was. It was like Stone Creek or something. But we didn't do it as a team fundraiser. We did it as individual fundraiser. Give the students a chance to earn money that went to them for their travel.
Nice.
So that worked pretty well. It was a lot of work, but there were students that needed to fundraise because they couldn't afford to go otherwise. So
All right. And that's been successful year after year,
yeah,
or
we stopped doing it. I think around COVID, just because people
Okay.
weren't out of the building, so we haven't,
We-
might do it again.
we did a fundraiser from a company called Rada. They sell knives and kitchen stuff. It's all online. It's super simple. They take all the, unless somebody sends you a check or something, they have all their e-commerce on their website. The first year we did it, we made just under $3,000. We did it again the very next year, we made $78. All right, so sometimes it works great, and then the very next year, it just dies.
The
So
best one we ever had was the Sussex raffle, when that was a thing.
Yeah,
And
nowadays.
yeah. If we could get First Wisconsin to get a state raffle license, because we would pay
working on it,
$20 for
working real hard on it. I got the application done.
We would make $3,000-$4,000.
I'm so close to it. In the meantime, if your high school, check with your athletic director, has a raffle license and you're having an event at the school. So let's say you're hosting an FLL event at your school and your school has a raffle license. You can do a 50-50 raffle, okay, legally. All right, now it's up to your event coordinator to be like, okay, yeah, let's do that and try to raise that money. In the meantime, if your school has a basketball game and they're doing 50-50 raffle, odds are your athletic director is looking for someone to run that, okay? It takes 2 people. Only one of them has to be an adult. You show up right after the game starts. They hand you a bin with a bunch of raffle tickets. You walk the stands between when the game starts to right around halftime, selling the raffle tickets, then you call the number, all right? We're running out of time here. So quick wrap up. Water sales at local events. Look for opportunities to sell bottled water at farmers markets and things like that.
This mic's all sudden working.
Yeah.
My mic just started working?
I think it's just bouncing up and down.
Oh. FLL regionals, whoever thinks that that's a guaranteed fundraiser, check yourself. Volunteer food costs a ton of money. All right. Fundraisers. Yeah, this is the candy bars and everything. Culver's nights. All sorts of great ideas. Go back, take these ideas that you've learned today, capitalize on them, and then look to bring ideas back. This will be on the Bears website, so you can always come back and listen to, if you miss something. I will take all of these notes and kind of put them into a spreadsheet and get it to Bears so that they can share that too. But good luck raising the incredible amount of money that you have to raise. So.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.